Welcome to Backyard Plus. In this video we show you how to test and replace the points of light on an 08 to 13.5 limelight spa with the Rayo lighting system. Before we get started, let's go over the tools and parts you will need. Tools you will need: Phillips head screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, heat gun, multimeter, needle nose vice grips, pliers, and dielectric grease. Parts you will need: points of light housing, points of light removal tool, light power supply, and light controller. If there are no lights on in your spa when you press the lights button on the control panel, it means you might have a bad motherboard, a bad power supply, a bad light controller, or even a short in the lighting system. In this video, we are going to test each one of these things. Testing the lighting components. Step 1. Disconnect power from the spa. Step 2. Remove the equipment door and the IQ 2020 control box lid. Disconnect the light power supply from the APM black and white terminals on the motherboard. Step 3. Reconnect power to the spa. Step 4. Set your multimeter to at least 200 volts AC. Test the voltage at the APM where the light power supply plugs into the motherboard. You should get a reading of 115 to 120 volts. If you have no reading, make sure there is a fresh battery in your multimeter. If you have a good battery, but you have no voltage reading, it means you have a bad motherboard. Step 5. If you have good voltage at the APM, test the voltage coming out of the power supply. Set your meter to 20 volts DC. Disconnect the power supply from the light controller. Place one lead on the outside of the shaft and the other lead on the inside of the shaft. You should get a reading of approximately 5 volts. If there's no reading, it means you have a bad power supply. Step 6. If you have good voltage at the power supply, test the voltage coming out of the light controller. Place one lead on the black wire and one lead on the red wire while the lights are plugged in. You should get a reading of 3.5 to 5 volts under load. If there's no reading, it means you have a bad light controller. If the voltage is good but you still have no lights, it means water has made its way into one of the points of light and caused a short in the entire system. Replacing the points of light. Step 1. Disconnect power from the spa. Step 2. Using the points of light removal tool, insert the tool into the grooves on the light lens and turn the tool counterclockwise about 45 degrees. Step 3. If the lens will not turn separately from the housing, or if the lens breaks apart, heat it up with a heat gun. Step 4. Grab the LED bulb with needle nose vice grips and turn it counterclockwise about 45 degrees. Pull the light straight out of the housing. Step 5. Cover the tip of the new light with dielectric grease and install it into the housing. Insert the points of light tool into the grooves on the light lens and turn it clockwise about 45 degrees. Testing and replacing the points of light housing. Step 1. Disconnect power from the spa. Step 2. Set your meter to 200k ohms. Disconnect the wire tap connector from the red and black wire. At each connection, ohm out the LED light and housing. A good LED housing should read between 35 and 45k ohms. If the LED housing falls below this reading, it is suspect of water ingress. If it reads 0 ohms or OL, the entire housing needs to be replaced. This LED housing is good. Step 3. Disconnect the wire tap connector from the red and black wire. Unthread the housing from the nut. Remove the nut and housing from the spa. Step 4. Make sure the shell is free from dirt and debris before installing the new housing. Install the new housing and the nut. Tighten the nut with pliers, but do not over-tighten. Step 5. Install the point of light connector into the wire tap connector. Step 6. Carefully align the black and red wires inside the wire tap connector and pinch it shut with pliers. Step 7. Turn the spa on and test the lights. Good job! Thanks for watching. Our goal here at Backyard Plus is to save you money by avoiding costly service calls for repairs that you could easily do by yourself. If you have any questions or need to place an order, feel free to give us a call at 805-541-9000 or visit us online at backyardplus.com.